one is called as what?
Saprophytic.
Saprotropic nutrition. So
Parasitic.
that second one is parasitic nutrition, and the next one is holozoic nutrition. So let us start with the first one. Remember, saprotropic nutrition. So all of you keep heading today's date, day, and all, and you write saprotropic nutrition. So please unmute yourself. When you are speaking only, please mute. Remaining all unmute. Mute yourself. So saprotropic nutrition. Saprotropic. PHIC, correct? So saprotropic nutrition, or remember the saprotropic nutrition also we can call it as saprophytic nutrition. Both are correct. What we should call? Sapro, understanding? Phytic, PHYTIC. Saprophytic nutrition. Both the nutrition is common. Understand? Saprotropic nutrition, or else we used to call it as saprophytic nutrition. So let us comes to here. Saprotropic nutrition or saprophytic nutrition means it is the nutrition in which an organism obtain its food from decaying organic matter of dead plants and dead animals and rotten bread, etc. You understanding? So saprotropic nutrition means some organisms will obtain their food from decaying of dead plants, dead animals, and understanding bread. Bread, you know. So if we'll expose to the bread to the atmosphere, understanding something like algae will grow on it. Is it yes or no? Some like we can observe that yes or no. Green color one is start growing on the bread. Is it yes or no? You observed or not? No response?
Yes, sir.
That is. So that type of nutrition is called as saprotropic nutrition. It is the mode of nutrition in which an organism obtains its food from decaying organic matter. Decaying organic matter. Understand? So this decaying organic matter of like dead plants, dead animals, and rotten bread is etc. only saprotropic nutrition. So here if you'll observe, what is the meaning of sapro? Anybody? You already studied, correct? What is the meaning of sapro? What is the meaning of sapro? Please. No, I don't know. Just now I have told you three things. Dead plants, dead animals, and rotten bread.
Dead and decayed plants.
Rotten bread. So, what is the meaning of sapro? Once again, I am saying rotten bread. What is the meaning of sapro? Then what are you studying? Sapro. Sapro means rotten. What is the meaning of sapro? Rotten. You understanding that? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
what is the meaning of tropic? Tropic means, as we know that, nutrition. So,
Nutrition.
that is. So, a saprotropic organism draws its food from rotting wood of dead and decaying trees and rotten leaves, dead animals, and household waste like rotten bread, understanding, etc. etc. So, these dead animals, these organisms which are under the saprotropic nutrition, these all understanding, these organisms having a saprotropic mode of nutrition. That is why these organisms which will draws its food from this rotten wood or decaying trees or rotten leaves or dead animals or household waste. So these organisms is called as saprophytes. What we should call? Which is having a saprophytic or saprotropic nutrition. They are called as saprophytes. What we should call? Saprophyte.
Saprophyte.
So from this we can say that saprophytes. What is the meaning of saprophytes? Can anybody define saprophytes? You are all class 10th, correct? CBSE. Define saprophytes. They will ask you the question. What you people will define? Define saprophytes. Anybody come
The
forward?
organism
Define
The
saprophytes.
organism which
dead Rotten.
Food from dead and decayed
Micro
animals.
organisms which
decayed.
obtain their food
Or
from
household
decaying
Very
woods.
good. Ma, please call to your friends. Those who are absent and those you know that, you please make a call to them. Understand? Let them join fastly on. Kevin, good morning, Kevin. So now if you'll observe here, what is the meaning of saprophytes means? They are the first, they are the organisms. Is it yes or no? They are the organisms. Keywords is most important. They are the organisms which obtain their food from dead plants. Dead plants means in the sense of like rotten leaves or understanding what is that rotting wood and dead animals like understanding. So they will obtain their food from dead plants, comma, dead and decaying animal bodies, comma, dead and decaying, understanding, dead and decaying animal bodies, like decomposing, understanding, dead and decaying animal bodies and other decaying organic matter like rotten bread. So that is only called as saprophytes, just which will obtain their food from dead plants and dead animals and decaying animal bodies and other decaying organic matters like bread, rotten bread is only called as saprophytes. So this phenomena of nutrition is called as saprotrophic nutrition, or we used to call it as saprophytic nutrition. So what is the examples? Examples. Anybody? What is the
Sir,
example? Mushroom.
mushroom,
Very good. Very good, Dina. Mushrooms. So this mushrooms we will consume as a food also. One type of mushroom we will
Yes.
take as we will consume as a food. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but a few mushrooms are very poisonous. If you taste it also, you will die. That is what I am saying. So this mushroom is under what? This mushroom is under what? Mushroom is under what? It is a fungus.
Saprophytes.
saprophytic,
No, it is saprotropic. Okay. So this is what type of family? Family is under what? It is a fungi family.
Fungus.
Fungi family because it is one of the fungus. Understanding? So if we take all the fungi like bread molds, understanding, which will grow in bread molds we used to call that as bread molds,
Yes, sir.
mushrooms, bread molds, mushrooms, and as well as yeast. If we'll take yeast, these all are fungi family, and many bacteria which will decompose our body. If we'll die, if we'll keep it under soil, after a few days we can see there is no flesh, nothing will be there. So this all will be decomposed. This all will be eaten by so many kind of what we can say, bacteria which are present inside the soil. So that is why we can say fungi like bread molds, mushrooms, yeast, and many bacteria is under which type of saprophyte.
Saprophyte.
Saprophytes. So as we know that this fungi and bacteria are of a kind of what they are. They are kind of animals or they are kind of plants. This fungi and all this bacteria. They are kind of what?
Plants.
They are kind of plants or they are kind of animals. Tell me, yeah.
Plants.
Plants. So if we'll take this fungi and bacteria,
Plants.
they are kind of plants. So we can also say that saprophytes.
Bacteria also come under
Yes, ma'am. But they both, these
plants, sir.
saprophytes both are under a kind of plants, So that is why we can also say
Sir,
that.
penicillin is also example only, no, sir. Penicillin.
Yes. I will say that. You just wait. Understand? So if we'll take here, the saprophytes are the plants which will feed on dead and decaying organic matter. That's it. So dead and decaying organic matter. So these saprophytes break down the complex organic matter, like our dead body and all very complex substance. So what they will do? So they will just break down these complex organic molecules present in dead and decaying matter and convert them into a simpler substances outside their body. Outside their body itself, they will convert these complex substances into a simpler substances. So these simpler substances are then absorbed by the saprophytes as their food. First, they will convert. See, as we know, where we are converting complex substances into simple substances, outside our body or inside our body?
Inside our body.
inside our body.
Inside our body.
But these saprophytes, understanding, they will take these complex substances outside the body itself. They will converting into simpler substances. Later they will absorb that, understanding, because they cannot convert complex substances into simple substances inside their bodies. Just outside itself they will convert it. Later they will
How they will do?
absorb that. Understand, by releasing some chemicals and all, they will convert it. Understanding, Amma? So the conversion
Okay.
process from complex to simpler will be takes place outside their body, and these simpler substances only, then they will absorb. Understanding? So that is why, understand here, the that is the reason why we can call the saprotropic nutrition, understanding, will takes place outside their body. They will convert it as a complex substances into simpler substances. Later they will absorb that juices, the absorb that simpler substances. Understand? So this is all about the saprotropic nutrition. So that is another name. Yeah, the saprotropic nutrition also we can call it as what? Saprophytic nutrition. Understanding? Saprophytic nutrition. So the example for saprophytic nutrition is fungi like bed molds, understanding, mushrooms, and what? Mushrooms and next what? And most
Sir,
of
our
Bacteria.
mushrooms depend on dead and
Bacteria.
decaying matter.
yeah, decaying matter, and most of the bacteria are the examples of
Bacteria.
most of the examples. Understanding? Fungi,
Saprophytic.
yeast, mushrooms, and bacteria, examples of saprotropic nutrition. So this is, so now please all of you write saprotropic nutrition. Also we can call it as what? Saprotropic nutrition. Also we can call it
Saprophytic.
Saprophytic nutrition.
Saprophytic
right?
nutrition.
All of you write it. Saprophytic nutrition. Right. Definition should be in such a way that a well-developed manner, well-defined manner. Should not write something like our language. It should be like a proper definition. Understanding? Right. Saprotropic nutrition. Saprotropic nutrition. A saprotropic nutrition is that. A saprotropic nutrition is that. A saprotropic nutrition is that. Two more absentees, Amma. Can you able to say who is that? Pranita is there? I think Pranita is absent today. Jesse present, Pranita is absent. Okay. Right. Saprotropic nutrition is that nutrition in which an organism obtains its food from decaying organic matter of dead plants, cover, dead animals, and rotten bread, etc. Down what you will write? Sapro. What is the meaning of sapro? I said. What is the meaning of sapro? Sapro means what? Rotten. That is the meaning you should remember. Understand? Rotten. Understand? That is. Next. So, these organisms, what we should call? What we should call these organisms?
Saprophyte.
Saprophytes.
So, all of you keep heading saprophytes. Saprophytes. Right. Saprophytes are the organisms. Which obtain their food. Saprophytes are the organisms which obtain their food from dead plants, comma, dead and decaying animal bodies, dead and decaying, DECAY, understanding, decaying, DECAYING, decaying animal bodies,
And the other decaying organic matter is protein.
dead plants, and dead and decaying, DECAYING, decaying animal bodies, comma, and other decaying organic matter, and other decaying organic matter. So this organic matter means what?
Rotten
Organic
bread,
matter
like-
means rotten bread, etc. Rotten bread, etc. is only called as saprophytes. What is the examples of saprophytes? Examples. You can write fungi.
Fungi, mushroom,
Fungi means what it will
mushroom.
come? Fungi means bread molds,
Bread
mushroom
molds,
and yeast.
yeast,
Bread molds, mushrooms and yeast, as well as most of the bacteria.
most of bacteria.
Most of the bacteria. And the last point, they are the kind of plants you can write. The fungi and the bacteria are kind of plants. Fungi and bacteria are of kind of plants. That's all. Understand? Any doubt, anybody you can ask.
No, sir.
Clear? See these
Yes,
three
sir.
modes of nutrition and the differences. So many times the question will come. That is what I am saying. They will ask you what is understanding heterotrophic nutrition. That is what is the types of this one, saprotrophic, and next one, and the next one halozoic nutrition. They will ask you the differences. So you be very careful with this. That is why. So what is this is all about the first type of nutrition. So what is the second type of nutrition? Parasitic.
Parasitic
So
nutrition.
this is very
Parasitic
simple.
nutrition.
Even that name itself you can understand. Parasitic nutrition. So which is parasite? Parasite it means in the sense of living in some another body. So it cannot sustain alone, understanding, on its own. So always it will live in the some another body, understanding, for its food and shelter and everything. That is only called as understanding parasitic nutrition. So parasitic nutrition, all of you keep heading. Parasitic. Even this parasitic nutrition we used to see in news also. We used to watch in news sometimes. Somebody is somebody is having a stomach pain. If they have done the operation, doctors has done operation and they have removed the 13 centimeter or 30 centimeter round worm, ringworm, like that, something they will say. Correct or not? Tapeworm, something they will say. They have removed the thread-like structure inside the intestine, stomach, like that the people will say. Have you remembered news? No, don't know.
Yes.
Parasitic. Parasitic nutrition.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Parasitic nutrition. So let us comes to here. What is the meaning of parasitic nutrition means? Remember, the parasitic nutrition is the nutrition in which organisms derives or else they will get its food from the body of another living organisms. Means in the sense of, suppose inside our body so many kinds of living organisms are present, as well as some unwanted, some bacteria are helpful to our body and some are causes infection something. So here if you take, like for example, in our intestine, in our stomach, sometimes because of eating a raw meat like pig or some other kind of raw meat without washing properly, some kind of parasite called as roundworm. What we should call? Roundworm.
Roundworm.
Understanding? Which is present in the understanding animals. If you are not washing or else if you are not cooking, if you eat the raw meat directly, then this one will go into our body and will be settled inside our small intestine. So there it will start eating our intestine slowly. It cannot kill the host. Understand? It will start growing inside it by squeezing the intestines. That is why you can see that we used to get the continuous stomach pain. So if you go to the hospital, then that people will do the cesarean and they will remove it. They will say this much long, like that the people will say. Have you noticed it? That is. So like that nutrition. So they will obtain the food, any kind of organism. If it's obtaining, if it is deriving its food from the body of another living organism, so that another living organism is only called as host. What we should call? Host. Like hotspot.
Host.
Hotspot, you may know it. Understanding? Corona hotspot means where it, a place where it will become the understanding source for corona cases. Like that, hotspot, Wi-Fi hotspot you may see. Who is the supplying of internet to the source of internet is called as hotspot. Is it yes or no? Our phone we used to heard.
Yes, sir.
Same way, a person who is carrying the another kind of organisms which are present inside their body and they are deriving the food from their body, they are called as host. Understand? So here if you'll observe, the organism which is obtaining the food from this host is only called as, what we should call, if you know, you may say by this time, parasite. What we should call?
Parasite.
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 Understand? So, and the organisms from whose body food is obtained is called as host. What we should call? Host. Who is obtaining food is called as parasite. From whose body it is obtaining is called as host. Understand?
Host.
So, from this we can say a parasite is an organism. It may be a plant or maybe animal. We cannot say. A parasite is an organism which feeds on another living organism called its host. That's all. So, this parasite always receives or draws its food from the host, but gives no benefit to the host. That is most important. Our stomach, millions of bacteria are present, which will take the food from us, understanding, from our body. Also, they will, to the benefit, they are taking, we are benefiting them by providing food and shelter. So that for that purpose, they also will start helping to us. They are not under parasitic. You understand, Amma? All of you. Those who are mutual understanding, we are having a both, you are benefiting by me and you are benefiting on me, you are depending on me and I am depending on you. We both are exchanging our what we can say, helping. I am helping you and you are helping me. Like that mutual understanding. They are not under parasitic. Only those who are drawn food from host and understanding, for that they will never do return, they will never do any kind of help. Like that only is to called as parasitic. So this parasite, they will receive food from the host, but no benefit to the host in return. Understanding? No benefit. So if no benefit also, no problem. So what they will do, instead of benefit, let it be. If they are not doing good, it's okay. But what they will do? So no benefit is not a problem for us. Like, okay, let it, you are staying inside my stomach. You want, you can take the food. Okay, then you be calm. But if you are doing favor to me, it's okay. I will be happy. Instead of not doing any favor, what they will do? They will harm the host. That is the problem. Understand? They will start damaging the host. They will start usually harms the host. So this host may be a plant or maybe animal. Parasite is also a plant or animal, or else this host is also a plant or animal, doesn't matter. But this, instead of doing benefit, it will even cause us harms to the host. That is only called as parasite. So if we'll take most of diseases which affect mankind, mankind and his domestic animals like dogs, cattle, cows, buffaloes, ox, everything, and his crops, crops, if you'll observe, like understanding everything, like rice crop, wheat crop, every vegetables, everything, all the crops are caused by only whom, Ra? Because of whom?
Parasites.
Parasites.
Parasite.
Whatever the diseases we are
How
getting,
does plants depend on hosts, sir?
plants depend on host. Have you noticed it? Some plants, under the some plants, some other plants will grow. Have you see? This parasite is maybe a suppose your crop is getting infected with some kind of bacteria or fungus. Means in the sense of what? They are the parasite only. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Understanding,
Yes,
Amma?
sir.
Suppose you can see some plants, and on their plants some other plants will start growing. Slowly this plant will die and that plant's roots will be will go inside the soil and it will start growing. You may see some scenes in the sceneries. Under the middle of the one plant, another plant will start growing. Slowly this plant will die and that plant will start growing well, like that. We cannot say that even so many kind of, because see some bacteria is under plants, some fungi suppose see bread is going on. Suppose bread, you know that molten this the rotten bread, understanding that molds are growing. So that is also under a plant only. That fungi is called as under the plant. So like that, it is a host. It is taking the food from the bread, but it is not doing. It is not keeping the bread safely. It is damaging the bread. Host means you don't say it is only a animal or any kind of a plant. Both it may be. It depend upon the situation. Suppose you can take a rice crop. Your rice crop is affected by some kind of you can see some kind of diseases. If you are not applying the pesticides, it will be completely damaged by this. Is it yes or no? Suppose that
Yes, sir.
kaskuta. How many of you know kaskuta? Kaskuta plant. Just you see in
Yes,
our
sir.
browser. You see.
Cascuta.
Kaskuta
In
plant. Do you know?
trees and all it will be there, sir.
It is a plant. Understanding? So this, suppose if you take fungi is under all this parasitic only. Bacteria if you take, under this bacteria is also parasitic. And few plants like Kaskuta if you take. Kaskuta as well as like animals if you take. Plasmodium and roundworms. Animals, how many of you know Plasmodium? Plasmodium and roundworms. So these all are animals. So this everything is called as what? Parasites only. Understand? So now, suppose Plasmodium. How many of you know Plasmodium? Plasmodium will cause us one famous disease, which is most of the people are affected. Do you also, one of you are affected? One or two are maybe affected. Plasmodium is a small living organism which will cause us malaria disease. Have you remembered? Malaria disease. Malaria, how many
Yes,
of you
sir.
know? Oh yeah. So
Yes,
this Plasmodium is a small living organism, microorganism, which causes malaria disease. So that malaria, this Plasmodium is called as what? It is causing, it is entering into our body and it is taking shelter and it is also causing damage to us. That is why this is called as what? Parasite.
parasite.
Understand? Suppose if we take, yeah, roundworms which will cause us diseases in man. Our particularly our body, it will cause us. Understand? Basically, it will lives in the animals like domestic animals like dogs, cattle, and cows and all, sheep and all, and a pig, everything. So that is why this roundworm is also called as parasite. So these roundworms live inside the body of a man and any kind of domestic animals, and they will cause us to the damage to our intestine and all. We used to get continuous stomach pain and all. So that is why it is called as parasite. Like that, if we'll take several fungi and bacteria and plants like Kaskuta, they are also understanding parasites. So these parasites, suppose let me see Kaskuta. How many of you know Kaskuta? Please tell me. Kaskuta. Do you know Kaskuta?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Kaskuta plant. If you'll observe the Kaskuta plant, which is used to grow on another plant, dodler we used to call it as. This Kaskuta plant you can see, which is growing on some another plants. 1 minute, I will show you.
Birth itself, roundworms will be present in animals as well.
What amma? Roundworm.
Yes, sir. From birth itself, will it be present in animals?
Sir, how they grow, sir?